Yeah, hey, how you doing? I'm all right, but hey, you know that expression, like some things don't mix, like oil and water don't mix, like that? Yeah. I found two more things that don't mix. Chairs with wheels and hardwood floors. Yeah, right on my ass. Yeah, all right. Well, we'll make it. All right, cheers, thanks. Hey, interesting morning for me. How about you? Welcome to a beautiful July the 21st here in downtown St. Catharines at Fiddler's Poorhouse. We are going inside for Season 3, Episode 28 of Niagara 411 Live, fueled by Gales Gas Bars, powered by WeeStreem. We are also supported by Performance Heating and Air, as well as Verge Insurance Group, located right here in Niagara as well. Now, this hot weather we're having, these heat waves and all the rest of it that's going on around the world, is it weather or is it climate? Is there a difference? We'll find out on the show today with Scott Sutherland, meteorologist of the Weather Network, as well as other guests that I'm sure you'll find interesting here at Fiddler's Poorhouse. We're going to go inside and where it's nice and cool. I hope you're someplace a little bit crispy today. Now, crispy can mean two things. It can be hot and crispy, or it can be cool and, well, anyway, hope you're comfortable. My name is Sterry. We are going to be with you in just a little bit. We have also Angel Hernder. Remember the fire back in March, Hernders Estate Winery? We were all shocked by this and saddened by it as well. Things are getting back into gear. Things are ramping up. And after all of these months, we have a bit of an update for you, and it's all good news. So Angel Hernder is going to be joining us also just, I don't know, 10, 15 minutes from now. All right, so it is Season 3. It is Episode 28 of Niagara 411 Live with Sterry, and we'll check back with you in about 30 seconds, all right? Hello. I just have one more little plug-in to do here, and we'll be ready to go. Hey, how are you? As I said, Season 3, Episode 28 already. Man, the summer is flying by. Ladies and gentlemen, Kevin Jack on the right-hand portion of your screen, co-founder of WeeStreem, Canada's premier streaming network, as well as executive producer of Ye Olde programming here at Niagara 411. Also, we want to acknowledge Nick at Niagara 411, the creator and maintainer of all that is Niagara 411. It's a pleasure to partner with him on content and other things here on the live edition of Niagara 411, so it's always a pleasure. I cannot forget to say hello to Nick's mom, because she is a stalwart in supporting this program. Absolutely appreciate anybody and everybody that spends time with us on a weekly basis. Again, Gales Performance Heating and Air and Verge Insurance Group, thank you for being here. Kevin, the premier story, as it always is when things like this happen, is weather. People pay attention to the weather almost more than they pay attention to their own families. It's just something that is part of the vernacular. We learned that way back in the radio days, and it hasn't changed one iota. When there is weather on people's minds, it becomes the lead story of the day, and it has been the lead story of the day for quite a number of days now. The stories that we've been hearing about from the UK, setting record temperatures, closing some airports, or at least one airport, because the runway was melting. That's pretty extreme. Portugal is suffering record temperatures, forest fires all over the place. Not that Portugal has huge forests, but they are still, and that kind of proves the point. What forests they do have are burning. I think they might have them under control, but you never really know. Spain also suffering. So, and France, the whole mainstream Europe geography is hot. We are hot. And every time these things happen, the debate is always brisk on, pardon the pun, on whether it actually is climate change that is causing this, and a lot of the scientist people will say that it is. Then again, the anti-climate change people, of which I am not one. I admit I am not an anti-climate change person. I believe it is a real thing. However, there are arguments to the contrary that say, okay, wait a minute. Yes, UK is setting some temperature records considering what they've had since they began keeping records many years ago. But this is far from the hottest day. Our latest days of heat here in Niagara, Ontario, other places in Canada. Even Toronto was the hottest place in Canada the other day, but it didn't set any records. And maybe the last record is 30 years ago or what. So the anti-climate change people will say, hey, we had hotter days than this. Long before we started talking about climate change. We're having some hot weather and you're saying it's climate change? I don't know.
Yeah, but it's not just the hot weather, Lee. It's the mood swings with Mother Nature.
This is it.
I mean, scorching, Tuesday, Wednesday here in Niagara, and then trees down all over Pelham.
I know. So that's kind of what I want to talk to Scott Sutherland about, and I kind of know what he's going to say. But Scott, as I said, a meteorologist with the Weather Network as well as its science writer. So we're going to talk heat, climate change versus weather. And we'll try to get him to describe the difference, because weather and climate change are not the same. I know it's kind of a splitted hair to try to figure out how it works. But anyway, Scott's going to be coming up after 12:30 today. And Kevin, you said you were in the Pelham area. Well, first of all, you don't live too far from what we refer to as Pelham, but we also have a lady coming on that took some cool shots and videos of the storm, the raging storm that went through there.
Yeah, so I drove all the way down Effingham, from St. Catharines all the way down to Weber, and it was amazing because as you got close to Highway 20 and then through to Canberra, all of a sudden trees were felled everywhere.
Yeah, it's like something went through there.
You go 5 minutes south of there into Welland and everything's fine. You don't see a branch down or anything, but right through that corridor of Pelham and into Fonthill and what have you. I mean, just trees down everywhere. And Stacey Hayward's here, and she posted this morning on Niagara 411.
Awesome. Stacey, hi. How are you? Welcome to the program.
I'm good. How are you?
I'm super. So, what time was it that you, and it looked like your family was out taking pictures or videos or something?
It was myself and my son.
Okay, you and your son. And what time was that?
He showed up at my door probably about 11 o'clock. I was watching Stranger Things. I was home by myself, and all of a sudden he comes flying through my door. Okay. And he's like, Mom, we gotta go.
Really?
Yeah.
Why did he say it that way?
Because he had driven home from Hamilton, and the weather there, he said it followed him home. Like he felt like the storm had followed him home, and at one point he parked under an underpass. It got that bad. So the sky was green. This was coming home, like I said, it was probably somewhere between Hamilton and Pelham. And then when he got into Pelham, he saw the damage. And then I live just on the north side. Like I'm almost right on the cusp of Welland and Pelham.
Okay.
Or Fonthill, I guess it would be.
Right.
And we're kind of into storm chasing a little bit. And he's like, let's go. He's like, grab your camera, let's go.
So this is something that would be of interest to you anyway.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, what was your experience? Now we could see the pictures, but what were you thinking while you were walking around through this area? What was going through your mind?
To be honest, it was a little bit surreal because, I'd heard some thunder just before he came in the door, and I checked the radar and I saw purple. And I was just about to start making some phone calls, and like I said, he came flying through the door. So when we first left Welland and we went down Cataract Road, there was nothing. I was like, what are you talking about? He's like, just give me a minute. So we got out to Highway 20, and turned left to go north, like more towards, I guess, the north side of Pelham.
Yeah, so you were
And all of a
obviously
sudden-
driving at the time.
I wasn't driving; he was driving.
No, but you were in a car. Yeah.
Yeah. So we started driving, and then all of a sudden, you slowly start to see a few branches, like smaller branches, and you start to see some leaves. And I was like, okay. And then we got to the corner of, I want to say, South Pelham and Highway 20,
Right.
and going up the hill there where the park is down.
Got it.
Down the hill.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, it was chaos. Like, I probably used some expletives in some of the videos that I posted. I had never seen anything like it. Like, there were just trees down everywhere and wires, and it was black. Like, all of a sudden I went, where did the lights go? I didn't even realize that we had gone from light to dark.
Now, did you do any research or follow up with, like, say, Environment Canada or whatever to see if the Pelham area that you were looking at had been officially designated as a tornado possible, or like, because it seems like a very extreme event?
I haven't yet. I do plan to.
Okay.
I do run my own business, so I've been busy this morning. But I do plan to at some time today because something happened. I mean, I don't know what it was, if it was in fact a tornado or derecho or whatever they call them at this point.
Yeah.
But it was so, like, and I think somebody else had said, like, the damage got so bad, and especially near Effingham and Canberra Road and whatnot. And then it was so bad, and then you would turn a corner, and then there was nothing. And then you'd also have, you probably saw in some of my photos and videos, you had this tree completely uprooted, which blew my mind. And it had gone through a car and almost hit a motorcycle.
Wow.
Missed the house, thankfully. But right beside it was one of those basketball nets that you fill with water so it stays up.
Yeah.
And it was standing. So
Yeah, like highly unusual.
yeah, it was really surreal. Like I
So
didn't
it is
have my
almost
official
like it the way you're describing it, it's like something, maybe not a tornado, but maybe just a powerful wind of some sort, did sort of carve a path.
Something carved a path through that area last night. It was crazy. Like it was weird because you didn't know what to expect every time you turned a new corner.
Fascinating. So, as you continue to find out more, because I know you're gonna dig more, keep us in the loop on this on Niagara 411, will you? So that
I will.
Yeah, so that we can follow the trail. It's fascinating. So, how long have you and your son been sort of amateur storm chasers, if you will?
Probably him longer than I. It's been a few years. When he was a kid, he was obsessed with the movie Twister, as our whole family is. But yeah, when the weather starts to look, like it might be getting somewhere, he'll usually go out first, and sometimes I'll go out with him, but usually it ends up to be a dud. But last night was definitely not a dud. And I will
fascinating.
Say, one surreal moment was it was storming really bad still at one point, but then we looked up, and in between the clouds you could see clear sky and the stars. So weird.
That's awesome. So you guys run toward the storm, not away from it.
Pretty much.
Yeah. Okay. Stacy, your business. We wanted to mention this. You said you run a business of your own, and we just posted your listing on our page here, just so you know, Stacy's Creations Photography.
Thanks. Yeah.
Yeah. Tell us about that a little bit.
So the photos and videos last night are not with my professional equipment. I literally just grabbed my cell phone and ran.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've been doing photography now officially in the Niagara area for 15 years. I specialize in newborns and weddings. I do a little bit of other stuff in between, families and even pets and things like that. But I'm known mostly for my newborn work and my photography work, my wedding work.
That's wonderful. So that's one of the industries that has really evolved, changed, morphed, whatever word you want to use, since the digital age.
Absolutely.
I mean, I've known professional photographers that did the old dark room thing and the old-fashioned development, etc. But it's a whole different sack of hammers now, and you wonder how. But I guess photography is still a healthy business.
It is. It's definitely evolved. I came in basically just as we were going from the olden days of the dark rooms or whatever to the digital. And yeah, it evolved. It has evolved quickly. It's still evolving quickly. My camera now is 4 years old, I think, which is considered ancient. Yeah, I try to keep up as best I can. But yeah, the business has been good. COVID hit it pretty hard.
Can I get your explanation of something or your impression of something? Because this is your industry in particular is one that continues to keep me interested in its evolution. In that, right now, or let's flash back to the days when photojournalists were winning Pulitzers for their pictures in overseas wars and things like that. And those were the days before people could do a lot of editing. I mean, you had to frame the shot and point the shot and use the light and all the rest of it. And the shot you took was the shot you got.
Right.
Now, you can make the shot you took into any kind of shot at all. So where is the skill now, or the art form, if you will, compared to those days?
I guess it's kind of like, it depends on what type of photography you're doing. I mean, for me, with weddings and newborns, I want to keep it as real as possible. So I don't do a ton of editing. There's people out there that specialize in doing they take a simple photo and then they work for hours on it to manipulate it in a way that they want it to be viewed.
Even manipulating backgrounds and colors.
Yeah, 100%. And I'm not going to say like I haven't done that, because with some of my newborn work specifically, I do change out a background, for one or two shots. But those are like, I wouldn't say anomalies. That's not how I base my work on. Like, my work is more based on the baby, sleeping on the blanket that I photographed them on. I'm going to do some color adjustment, things like that. If necessary, some lighting adjustment. But generally, I want that baby to look like that baby. I want that baby to look.
Well, that's good.
That's good. And even with weddings, I'll throw a couple of cool, creative edits in there. But again, it really just depends on what your business philosophy is, as well as what your clients are looking for. And my clients, I think, come to me because I don't do a whole ton of editing to my photos.
Stacey Hayward, thank you for joining us and bringing us up to date with your experiences in that storm. And again, keep us posted on that, will you?
I'm definitely going to look into that.
Yeah, thanks. Take care. Enjoy your weekend.
Thanks. Have a great day.
Yeah, you too. Bye.
Yeah, and that's the exact area that I was in this morning, Lee. She was saying that was what was hardest hit, like Effingham right there through the Highway 20 and down into Cambro. That corridor, I mean, just big trees. You're talking, 4 or 5 foot diameter trunks.
When you think of that, it's a bit like a valley area, isn't it? Like, because there's indentations there. Perhaps it's just something like it became a wind tunnel through that area. But I mean, what do I know? I don't know nothing about weather. So, interesting story. Now we're awaiting Angel Hernder to join us on the program. Back on March the 26th of this year, we were all shocked by the fact that we heard that there was a fire raging at Hernders Family Estate Winery, and you don't expect anything like this ever to happen. I guess you don't expect a fire to happen anywhere, but the Hernder Estate Winery has just always been there, and so you never think about something almost taking it down. Now it is still there. We do have an update for you coming up. Angel Hernder is going to be joining us to bring you that update, and there are some old shots that you see right now of that, some archival footage of the barn that was burning.
Yeah, and just terrible. I happened to drive by earlier this week, Lee, to take a look, and was there. And, they're back up and they're running. And we're going to talk to Angel here in just a second. Angel, if you can hear us, if you could just turn your phone sideways. Right now, you're actually showing like you're laying on the beach. You're showing up the wrong way. There we go. That's good. I know. So you know what? Let's get Angel on here with.
Maybe she is lying on the beach, Kevin. And
yeah, here we go. Let's get Angel on, and we can find out what's going on.
hi, Angel. How are you?
I'm okay. Yourself?
I'm terrific, thank you. And again, we go. Our hearts go out to you and your family for what you've been through for the last 6 months or so, or March, April, May, June, July, 5 months, I guess, since that terrible day on March the 26th. But we have
Almost 16 weeks.
Pardon?
Only 16 weeks this weekend.
Yeah, 16 weeks. Where are we now? Now I know it. First of all, let me do this. Let's walk back and remind us, because almost all of us are familiar with your beautiful estate and the winery and the retail store, etc. Remind us exactly where it started, how it spread, and what you lost. How's that?
Oh, that was a difficult night. The entire structure that was originated back to 1867 caught fire at approximately 10 p.m. on March 26th.
Now, was this the barn?
The original barn, yes.
Okay.
Yes. It did stop at our firewall, but we lost our original barn in its entirety.
Okay.
So at 10 o'clock at night, my phone was off. I had workers literally breaking down my door to get me, and I was there in about 3 minutes.
Okay.
And I arrived, and you could not see from the smoke. You could not see the hand in front of you. I managed to get inside the building to go save my bird, and I got stopped about halfway, and my husband pulled me out. So we got back outside, we drove around, and that's when I literally saw the flames. And it started in the second story of the Victoria room in a bridal suite. There was really nothing in that room that could have caused this. And it traveled south. It knocked out the great big stone stained glass window. And
Wow.
then fire department had showed up after that point, and they were battling a battle that was just too big.
And there are still outstanding conversations being held, but it's safe for me to say, I hope, that you were informed that there was no foul play expected. Is that correct?
That is correct. We were in the building up until 7:30 that evening. We had a retirement party for Penny, which has been my coordinator for 20 years.
Nice.
We shut it up. I locked it, just like I did for the last 30 years. And in 2.5 hours, we don't know what happened, but there was no foul play.
Well, that at least has to make you feel a little bit, or give you some peace of mind that there was nothing intentional behind this.
Yes, but the hurt is still the same.
Yeah, of course. Okay, now let's flash forward to today. What have you done to restore, or have you done anything to restore where you are? What's happening now? Bring us up to date with Hernders Estate Winery.
So we have cleaned up the site. It was unbelievable, the amount of stuff that was in this 5-story barn. We lost our offices, our accounting office. We lost our cold storage room that had all the ice wine. We lost the retail store, 2 banquet facilities, and 3 floors of stuff.
Wow.
So there was nothing left. Even my safe wasn't safe. Everything is gone. All my backup. We have literally lost every piece of everything.
So that meant all of your plans and calendars and things with your upcoming events and everything gone?
Yes. I did have a room in the back that we used for inside ceremonies. I am trying to work with the city and fire department on getting that up, because I still have 8 weddings this year that do not want to go anywhere else. So it's going to be in the Luna Lounge. We did our first event 2 weeks ago with a special occasion permit from the couple.
Yeah.
And last weekend we opened our retail store. So
Oh, congratulations.
Thank you. As hard as it's been this past 15 weeks when we opened, seeing the smiles on people's faces, having them come back to our establishment, honestly, my heart smiled for the first time.
Now, I'm sorry, go ahead.
We're just open Friday, Saturday, and Sunday in that we have a new trailer for a store. It's about 12 by 40. Our patios are still licensed. So we're going to be open for retail and for wine by the glass, by the bottle. We had live entertainment out last weekend, and we're just trying to find a new normal.
Oh, that is so good to hear. Now, about your wine growing and making facilities, were any of those damaged, or has the whole wine making and grape growing process continued as it was?
The grapes are completely fine. The firewall is what stopped the fire. Unfortunately, we did lose the cooler that had all our ice wine in it.
Oh, that's horrible.
On the other side, there was 1, 2, 3, probably 6 to 8 ginormous tanks that are starting to leak because of the heat. All the rest is completely fine. Our warehouses.
These are the stainless, the steel tanks?
One of the rooms, yes.
Yeah.
But all the rest of them are completely fine.
So, just to touch on something we're not going to go into depth with at all, this saga is far from over. I mean, your family still has a lot of discussions and a lot of processes and a lot of things yet to go through before you can say that you've put this to bed, correct?
We are going to be rebuilding next year.
Okay.
As everybody knows, it takes a lot of time to go through your architects, to go through the cities, to get your demolition permits, never mind your building permits.
Right, yeah.
And then winter is going to be upon us.
It will be.
Sadly.
Yeah.
So hopefully, unfortunately, the original walls from the historic barn has to come down.
Will you be able to salvage any of the, just for, I guess, nostalgia's sake, the wood from it? Is any of it left undamaged enough that you can use it?
The wood is gone.
No?
The wood's gone.
Oh.
The stone walls and our silo. The stone walls have to come down, but we're going to chisel around, take that stone that isn't strong enough as a supporting wall, and we're going to build something with it. Either
Good.
being a bar or the bottom of the new construction.
Awesome.
We feel that we need to keep the heritage of whatever we can.
Well, I guess that was kind of the point of my question, and I think that's a wonderful thing, as sort of a monument to what was.
Yes. And we have one crumpled ice wine tank that is now going to be a piece of art.
I was going to say, make it into a planter or something important. Yeah, absolutely.
The firefighters said that our driveway was the nicest smelling driveway with all that ice wine drizzling down. I can kind of laugh about it right now.
Yeah, I was going to say, that's some small consolation.
I'm trying to find some humor.
Yeah.
It's hard,
Well,
but
we spoke.
one day at a time.
We spoke, I'm not sure if you remember, but we did speak very shortly after the fire. You graced us with our pleasure. We had someone on from...
You know what, Angel? I remember at the time is you had some posts
you
out
said
there.
that you said you couldn't come on.
And there were some very heartfelt posts about
Right.
having to contact family that were down in Florida and how devastated the entire
My
family
parents-
was,
That's
and you
Florida.
breaking the news to your parents, and just
Yes.
man, the entire community of Niagara, our hearts bled for you.
That's where I was going wrong, because we sort of spoke off the air, et cetera, to such a point that I almost feel like we actually did speak at that time. And I realize now, as Kevin set me straight, that the upheaval was just too great to do anything back then.
My parents were in Florida when this happened.
Yeah.
They were going to come home in a couple more weeks. And when the fire happened, I yelled at my brother, don't call mom and dad. And he says, oh, don't worry, I'm not going to.
Right.
But as I was across the street, I saw a text come in from an aunt that was in Florida. And I thought, oh no. So unfortunately, I had to call because that's not news that should come from anybody else.
Absolutely. So, Angel, before we go, there's a beautiful shot of the present day.
What we got up there exactly is present day. You mentioned the trailer. Can you talk a little bit about? We got a picture up there from your Facebook page, Angel, and just talk about the
flowers are beautiful. We see the silo in the background,
and that's where that beautiful patio was. Is the patio still operational for people that come by this weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday? Of course, you mentioned that temporary retail outlet there. That's the trailer that we're showing. Can you tell people what to expect this weekend?
It is a retail store. You can do wine flights. You can buy wine by the glass, wine by the bottle. Our patios are still fully licensed. And we also have picnic tables that are going to go out near the vineyard. That's going to be by the glass.
Beautiful.
Now I have 2 licenses. And the Monday to Thursday, 7 days a week inside Harvest Bar in St. Catharines, across from the hospital, is our another retail store that handles all of our wine. So even when we are closed, this whole entire time, people have been going there and supporting us and buying online. Like our heart on the outpour of the whole community literally has been the only thing sometimes that has gotten me through the day, of the encouragement, the love that I feel. And when I post, it is me, and it literally comes from my heart. So sorry about any grammatical, because I'm talking
No, not at all. And it's good that communities do that. Now, I'm going to ask you a question that might seem like it's in poor taste, but I'm going to ask it anyway, in all humility. Now, how many acres of grapes do you have on the property?
That particular property is 43 hectares.
Okay, 43 hectares. Okay, so what varietals are in those 43 hectares? Do you remember all of them?
Well, we have several properties. On that particular one, we have Vidal, Riesling, Bacco. We planted new rhubarb for our fruit wines.
Cool.
I think there's some Cab Franc, some Cab Sauv, some.
Okay. Now, in particular with the reds, let me ask you this question, and it's not meant to be disrespectful, but when you have the amount of smoke that was in the air for as long as that smoke was around, affecting the terroir of your property, does the winemaker, do you feel as a family that any of this and any of the effects from the fire will affect the wines? Because just about anything can affect how grapes evolve and flavors evolve and fermenting happens, etc. This was March, so they would have been just getting ready to bud maybe about that time.
No, not yet.
Not yet?
No, it was still snowing. It snowed
March
on
26th.
Us.
Okay,
the
I thought they would
27th
have.
and 28th, it snowed.
Yeah, no, I remember distinctly. My wife went to went to the show on Saturday. Probably left around 4:30, 5 o'clock, and then there we were. I woke her up out of bed to say, "Leanne, you're at Hernders earlier today," and now.
So anyway, we go back to the question: will the smoke have any effect at all on the flavor of those grapes? No.
The winemaker, which is actually Angela Casamos.
Okay.
No, the fire was traveling east and east only. It never went through the vineyards, and they weren't even in the process of budding. I mean, I bet you the roots were still kind of frozen.
Okay.
So at this point in time, we have absolutely no issues. Now, the past winter has had a lot of kill to the grapes. That was worse than the fire.
In what way? Because of the cold?
The winter was bad. I mean, all over Niagara and then
I heard
some
that,
has not been very kind to us this past winter.
Yeah. Okay. I just thought, pardon the horrible pun, that it might have added a nice maybe extra smokiness to the Franc or the Cabernet Sauvignon. You never know. But yeah.
You know what? Stay tuned. I'll ask Angela once this goes, but at this point, we are not concerned about it. The smoke didn't even really go that way.
Right. Okay. Well, listen, I'm so pleased that you're coming back from this. I knew you would, but I realize it has not been an easy journey. So, Angel, to you and your family, we still feel for you. We are so pleased to hear that you're going to be rebuilding, and that is not going to be an easy journey either.
No.
But
I wasn't sure at first what was going to happen until my dad came home. And this was his vision. He spent over 30 years perfecting this barn that we lost in about 2 to 3 hours. And he just said, the journey's not over. I conquered what I needed to, and we're building again.
Excellent.
And away we go, chapter 2.
Well, thanks for being here, and keep us posted on how you're doing. We are glad you're back open for operation. What are your hours this weekend, by the way?
Fridays and Saturdays are 11 to 6,
Okay.
and Sundays are 11 to 5.
Awesome. Angel, thank you so much. We appreciate everything that you've been going through over the last 16 weeks or so, and we'll talk to you.
Thank you to you and the entire community, because like I said, the love and support from everybody literally has made a huge difference on our family, like from the bottom of our hearts.
Well, I'm sure I speak for everybody when I say we're glad we could be of some service anyway. Thanks.
All right. Thanks for having me.
Bye.
Bye.
Isn't that funny, Kevin? Because I could have sworn, and now I remember clearly the conversation that you and I had prior to the show, the day after, or a couple of days after the fire, and the fact that said, yeah, we'd like to talk to you, but it's just too raw right now.
Yeah, and it really was, and you could see in those Facebook posts. I'm remembering 16 weeks ago, and just how heartfelt it was, and telling the story of having to call her parents as she shared with us there. But it's so great to see, whether you're born and raised in Niagara or you're new to Niagara, it doesn't take you long to figure out that we are entrenched in the wine industry, and so many families are involved in the wine industry. And when you get something like that, and her family name is on the business, you know that it goes back generations.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's great that she is letting us know that Niagara, you have given us all a great big hug, and it is felt by Angel and everybody over at Hernders. So,
absolutely.
if you're looking for a bottle, if you're going on a tour this weekend, make sure to stop by. They're open, what she said, 11 to 6 Friday, Saturday, 11 to 5 on Sunday.
Yep. I want to take just a moment to again thank our sponsors for this Niagara 411 Live with Lee Sterry program here on Niagara 411 Facebook post. Thanks to Nick, of course, at the home, the mothership of Niagara 411, to Gales Gas Bars Limited, our premier sponsor, fueling this program now for quite some time, and we hope it continues long into the future. As our title sponsor, Gales, we appreciate your support as always. Niagara's rainbow registered company, and one of the few. Carlo and Performance Heating and Air also for being a long-time sponsor. Just keep hanging in with us. And I think it's almost time for a conversation with Carlo, is it not, Kevin, at some point in the near future? Assuming he has enough time while in between fixing people's air conditioners. And to Verge Insurance Group, thank you also so much. Another born and bred Niagara company serving Niagara for many years. Okay, now we talked about this earlier in the program. We are going through yet another what you might refer to as a weather event. Joining us from the Weather Network is Scott Sutherland. He is a meteorologist and a science writer for that organization. We haven't talked to Scott in a while, although, Scott, I could think of something every week. Like, I could make people so tired of seeing that face of yours, because there's something every week in your areas of expertise that's worth talking about. You must lead a very interesting life, professionally, I mean.
This is probably the best job I've ever had, of being able to just, I'm delivering a important service for news and such, but I mean, I geek out about this stuff all the time. So, writing about the James Webb Space Telescope and the moon missions and so forth. That's my dream.
Ever since they launched, I have been so close to reaching out from my cell phone to text you or talk to you or whatever since this whole build up to the James Webb launch, that I thought, like, if I talked to you every time I wanted to talk to you, you wouldn't be talking to anybody else. Because there's so much stuff. But let's draw back to what we're going through right now. And this, finally, I could not resist the temptation to reach out to you when England, Portugal, Spain, to some degree France and other areas in Europe, and predominantly the UK, was raising the red flags, etc., as to the incredible heat events that they have been having over there with, airports being closed because of tarmacs melting and things of that nature. Unprecedented events, or are they unprecedented events? So then I think about our weather. Hot, humid weather is not unusual for southern Ontario or Canada. And then it became a debate between weather and climate.
Right.
And so many people do not understand, first of all, the difference between weather and climate.
Right.
Could we start there?
Yeah. Basically, weather is obviously just the minute-to-minute, hour-to-hour, day-to-day change of, temperature, humidity, winds, precipitation, clouds, all of that.
The science of the moment.
Right. Climate is the long-term averaging of all those weather records. So most agencies like Canada or the Canadian Environmental and Climate Change, they use a 30-year standard. So they take all the temperature records for Montreal, for Toronto, for Niagara, and they average it over 30 years, and then that is the standard that they use to compare to. Okay. So it goes back to 1990 is what the standard is for. Most of the major climate agencies around the world do the same thing.
Right.
But what we're seeing now is that the more recent weather is getting much more severe, more extreme than there has been in the past. Temperatures are on the rise globally. So that's the climate change.
On average.
Right. That's the climate change. It's due to global warming, due to the release of greenhouse gases into the atmosphere by fossil fuel burning over the past 150 years. Or longer now.
So the naysayers will...
Right.
But we hear on radio and television newscasts, etc., all the time on the so-called traditional media. We're going to hit 38 degrees Celsius today. It'll feel like 42, but it's not a record. That was set in 1967.
Right.
Now we're talking about weather.
Right.
So the naysayers. Sorry, Scott, to interrupt you.
No.
So the naysayers will say, well, hey, if we got 38 degrees today and it feels like 42 and we got a lot of humidity and people are saying, oh, climate change, the boogeyman, why was it hotter than this in the 1960s? That's what the naysayers always throw up there as an anti-climate change conversation.
Right.
So,
well, in the past, those kind of temperatures were reached, and they were significant records because they were so rare. So the 40 degrees in Britain, the UK, and London, I'm not sure that they've ever reached that. They may have in the past. I can't remember, but that if they have, it was extremely rare. Now it's like they push against that record, and they push against it, and they push it against it year after year. There might be a couple of years of a break, but these records are being challenged on a more regular basis. And then once in a while, they'll just, as it's a seemingly normal weather event,
right,
pushes it up against that extreme temperature record from way back. So yes, we do that where we say, well, this record beats one back in the 1960s, back in the 1940s. But at that point, it was severe, extreme weather. Like, this was unprecedented at the time. Now it's like, well, we've been hovering around that record for like a decade, and it finally blipped up top because of an extreme weather event.
Right.
So you have to look not only just at the temperature records, but at everything else that is very close to that record as well, because we're seeing a lot more of that.
Yeah. So, and to me, this is what makes the climate change scientists and I guess prognosticators so frustrated, is trying to convince people that climate change is real.
Yeah.
Because there are these little anomalies that pop up in history that somebody can point to as saying, well, if climate change is real today, and this is why we're doing this, why did we have that then? And I mean, it must make people just want to tear their hair out because we're talking apples and oranges.
Right. Yeah, it's more about, when we talk about it, it really should be more about how often we are seeing these events. And really how extreme they are. Like, fine, London reached 40 degrees at Heathrow, but what was the temperatures the day before that, the day before that, the day after that, the day after that?
Yes.
How long was this heat wave, and exactly how extreme did it get, and how widespread it was?
So
that's part of it, is that the climate change is changing weather, making it more extreme.
Right.
So when we look at it, like a heat wave, we've had heat waves in the past. We've had heat waves decades ago.
Of course.
We've had heat waves 100 years ago. But the thing is now they are more extreme, with more long-lasting temperatures, higher overnight temperatures, making them more dangerous to us because we can't regulate our heat without air conditioning. And if you're in a country that doesn't have a lot of that, like the UK, that's life-threatening. And then the duration of it, because the climate change slows down and changes weather patterns. So if you slow down the jet stream, that's going to lock in that high pressure system over UK for a week,
right,
instead of a day.
Yeah.
Which the temperatures keep building and building and building until something can finally shove that weather pattern off to the west or the east. So
hot, humid weather in Ontario is not unusual. It's an annual event that we experience in the summertime, and I know that sometimes the so-called that we used to be a part of, the so-called mainstream media, and maybe even industries such as yourselves, with heat warnings and weather warnings and blah 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 blah, and then like I don't think Environment Canada has, and I know this is not your organization, but I don't think Environment Canada has found one day that they couldn't find something to warn us about.
It does seem that way. Yes, that's the thing. Is that how many times,
like a neon sign?
How many events are we dealing with? How many extreme hail events are we seeing? How many flooding events are we seeing?
It's hot and humid in Ontario. What a surprise!
But how hot and how humid?
Yes.
And how long?
Now, I don't know whether you were watching the earlier part of the program or not, but we experienced a weather event here in Niagara, in the Pelham region, Pelham, Fonthill, Welland, sort of, I guess, conflux where it comes, and the damage was different than anywhere else in the region. Trees were down, like all kinds of things were different, and we were just conjecturing earlier that maybe something, maybe not a tornado or whatever, but something sort of carved a path or a swath through a particular geographical area in a place called Pelham. So, what do you think? Like, what happens in these situations? I know you don't know that one specifically, but...
Right. But in general, I mean, Niagara is in a very unique position. It's mashed between two different large bodies of water, which impacts your weather. in that case, there was a very powerful storm track moving through, like a squall line.
Okay.
That was impacting. I mean, I think it hit everywhere except Toronto, because Toronto's weird that way. But when that storm passed over Niagara, it could have been influenced by the onshore winds from both lakes, sort of pressing together and causing a bit more uplift in those storms and a bit more energy. It could have been something very local that way. I mean, it could have just been because as the storms track along, the conditions change and the storm can gather strength or it can lose strength. So it may have just been a natural progression of the storm, but it could have been local wind pattern impacts like that, like a lake breeze, they call it, the lake breeze effects.
How do guys like you or organizations like yours research or debrief an event like this? Because I'm sure somebody somewhere in your organization is sort of looking into this. What happened?
Well, it takes like direct eyes on site afterwards to do a damage assessment.
Okay.
It's like the Northern Tornadoes Project, which is run out of the University of Western Ontario in London. They're an awesome program. They basically their goal is to catalog every tornado in Canada, and that's like from ones that happen in the most populated to the least populated areas.
Okay.
So that we can get a full accounting of what's going on with tornadoes in Canada. And their plan is to, once the storm has happened, they will send representatives out to that area. I mean, they collect all the social media information as it's happening in the aftermath, but then they want people to go out to these locations, use drone technology, their own eyes, to take like photographs, see the damage for themselves. How bad was it, and so forth? What was the direction of it? Was it like something that was obviously spinning, creating a tornado, or was it straight line? Was it a downburst where the winds just rocket down towards the surface and spread outward?
So it's a pretty sophisticated analysis.
Line. Yeah. So they look at everything from all angles that they can, get all the information, and then they assess what happened here. Was it a tornado?
Will they do that in this? Will they do that in this event?
I would imagine if there was significant damage, they would. I mean, they would want to catalog exactly what it was. Even if it wasn't a tornado, they would want to know what happened there. Because that's their goal is to give us more information about these weather events to protect us in the future, basically.
Okay, so going forward, short term, what are your oracles tell you is going to happen in places like Europe and the hard-hit places that don't usually have? Southern Ontario, as I said, we're used to hot, humid stuff. We got air conditioning. We got all kinds of things. I don't think there is an air conditioner even sold in Spain. I don't think anybody has ever paid any attention to air conditioning. But then the UK, etc. Have they got a long-term problem on their hands? Well, I guess we all have a long-term problem on our hands, but and in the short go, is this hot bubble going to burst and we get back to normal? Or I don't know how I'm asking this question, but
I think I got you.
I think you kind of know where I'm going.
Yeah, I was actually just reading this morning that the World Meteorological Organization, the one that sort of it's the sort of organization that coordinates things between the smaller national organizations. They were saying that this heat wave, I mean, this was 2 days ago that they said it, but it'll probably persist throughout the rest of this week, at least.
This week, okay.
So that's the thing is what they're waiting for is for some cold weather pattern to push that heat out off to the east. That's what they need right now.
But when that happens,
need some sort of forecast, something to happen in the upper levels of the atmosphere to just shove that entire weather, that hot weather pattern,
and they can't see that coming. They can't predict. They can't see that.
They can, but it'll change. on a daily basis, the minuscule parts of the forecast. But
Okay.
right now, they can say that yes, that it will move on, but it's probably going to persist through the end of this week at the very least.
All right.
And then it's just a matter of how quickly does it move out.
Let me ask you. No, go ahead.
Well, it's just when these high pressure systems, we've experienced this ourselves here. There's a blocking high, they call it, an omega block. When these high pressure systems set into place, it's very difficult to dislodge them. They're very stubborn patterns because it's like trying to roll a boulder up a hill. Basically, you're trying to shove this thing out of the way.
Hence the term
It's
high
very
pressure.
Yeah, it's very resistant to that push. So if that sort of pattern develops, it sticks around for a while, and whatever conditions it's delivering to the area will just get worse and worse until it's finally able to clear the way and get out of the way. So
Now, when that event itself happens, does that not present an opportunity also for some sort of extreme weather event?
it could be. It depends. It could just push away very quietly, which it would be nice, because if it's something like we've had here the past few times, like the derecho and yesterday's storms, where that was a hot, humid air mass being shoved out of the way by a cold front,
Right.
a cold weather front. So if that sort of thing happens to the UK and then after the weekend, that could cause flooding, extreme lightning, extreme
Powerful rains
hail,
and all that.
Powerful rains.
Okay,
So-
Scott, before I let you go, though,
Yeah.
and I don't want to keep you too long, but I would be remiss if I didn't get your sort of overall impression so far of the James Webb expedition. What are you thinking so far?
It's even better than I expected. That's the thing is, we've seen what Hubble can deliver,
Right.
and it's given us some amazing views of the universe. And they gave us at least a few hints. Like they took Hubble imagery and then digitally altered it to say this is kind of what we think that James Webb will give us as the upgrade.
Right.
But I don't think I think those things fell short of showing us what it really would be like, because what they showed us on last Tuesday was incredible. I mean, the fact that they just took this 12-hour image of that tiny little sand grain sized section of space from our perspective and showed thousands of galaxies going back billions of years,
Thousands of galaxies going back billions of years
Yeah.
in a grain of sand sized section of space.
in just less than 12 hours of imagery. Like Hubble took these similar types of deep space images in
It's
days.
unfathomable. It's just unfathomable.
It is. And I guess when I recorded a video for the Weather Network about the James Webb Space Telescope, talking to Kim McDonald about it, and I mentioned how Webb is going to show us more about the things we know about, and it's even going to show us things that we didn't even know we didn't know about.
You don't know what you don't know. Right?
Yeah, and that's the thing is that it amazes me what this one telescope is probably going to show us.
Well, thank you. I know we'll have an opportunity to talk about it again. Scott Sutherland,
Yeah.
Thank you. Topics that people can wax philosophic about all day long, but weather versus climate is so huge in our future that I know we'll be talking about it again. A pleasure to be reconnected. Check in anytime, okay, if you think it's important.
Yeah, we'll do.
All right, man.
Definitely.
Thanks,
All right.
Scott.
Later. Bye.
Meteorologist and science writer with the Weather Network. If you go on the Weather Network, you can find his articles. He's a phenomenal researcher and and writer of things scientific in outer space. We've had kind of you may see them filing out the front door. We've had an interesting group of folks in here today. They are students of Brock University here in St. Catharines from sort of all corners of our province and country and world, etc. So, and they're on a bit of an orientation tour of the area of Niagara, and Fiddler's Poorhouse happened to be their spot where they were.
No, it was obviously this show, Lee.
Oh,
so far-reaching. I'm sure all of them said.
I'm not going to be that cheesy.
That Lee and Kevin show, we just got to go down there and see it in person.
That's right, I forgot. They came here just to see Niagara 411 live with Lee Sterry. That's why they were here.
And you know what, Lee? You can too. Look at these. Two beautiful seats available for you right there.
Yeah,
at
they're
the front.
right in the window. Now, the only reason we don't have that beautiful big garage door window open for you to sort of enjoy the outdoors is because it's so damn hot. And we have the air conditioning on in the restaurant for you to make it uber comfortable for you here. So thank you to all of the Brock kids for coming in and spending some time with us here at Fiddler's Poorhouse, who I thank again for hosting us every week and carving out a little bit of space here for us. Kevin, there's so much going on with science and weather and stuff, and it's like, oh my gosh.
I know when talking with Scott, I'll make your head explode, right?
Oh,
I mean, he
will.
just knows.
Yeah,
he knows so much.
That's why I don't talk to him too often, because I just feel like I'm going to spin off into the Netherlands somewhere.
But yeah, I mean, that's the debate, and you're right. Every time people see like record high temperatures, it's climate change. Well,
it's not climate change. We've had hot days before. Yes, we have.
But I'm not a denier. There's absolutely something to it, and year over year we continue to see these parts of the world that are having record highs. And I mean, if it's a record, then it's hotter than it's ever been. Although we've only been keeping track of it for 100, 150
years or whatever. And I'm not a denier ever. The images that truly cause me pause are not what's going on in the UK right now, or not what's going on in Canada or here. I mean, we have hot, humid weather in Niagara, big deal. But it's when you see giant chunks of the ice shelf sliding into the Arctic and Antarctic oceans that has never happened in the life of the planet. Those are the things that cause me some and I'm not scientific enough to know why, but it does cause me some concern when I see like the polar bear communities sort of isolated on land chunks and things. There's something going on, and I don't know.
You weren't a little mesmerized by the weather activities last night in Niagara? I mean, let's look. Here's some of the submissions on Niagara Falls. Yeah, that lightning and the clouds, and then seeing the devastation through Pelham this morning. It's just, I mean, look at these photos. And here we go, thanks to Francis and Jasmine.
Right.
And these are right here. I don't know if you stuck your head out the door, the window last night, Lee, to see all of the kind of sheet lightning that was going on, and it was it was so active.
I didn't. Active. I heard the booms. I saw the flashes, sort of peripherally, but I didn't actually go out and watch. Now that's a spectacular shot of that fork lightning. It's just, oh my God.
Look at the color of that sky, Lee.
Yeah.
I mean, these are not professional photogs, right? These are just amateurs, shooting with their cell phones and submitting to Niagara 411.
I mean, that's violent weather. I used to love...
This was going on for hours last night.
I used to love it when I grew up sort of out in the country. There were no street lights or anything. And when a big thunderstorm hit, my sister and I would sit in the front hall and look through the storm door in the front, pardon the pun, of the house, and the power would always go out where we lived. We never were able to keep power for very long, and we'd sit there and just watch the pyrotechnics that were going on in the sky, and it was absolutely fascinating. I just absolutely loved it, and it was a lot of fun until our house got hit by lightning. That wasn't so much fun.
Look at this. It was, Lee, last night I had to go out to Shoppers late
Was this you taking this?
No, this was not me taking this.
Okay.
But the cleaning crew at the Shoppers over on 4th
Right.
were sticking their head out the front door just to look at the the lightning kind of dance and illuminate the sky last night. It was something remarkable. And here you go, photos by Kyle Jeffrey.
It is. Look at that. That's fascinating. So when I was talking earlier to Stacy Hayward about their amateur storm chasers, I thought, well, like the movie Wizard of Oz must be something like a holy film for them, right? Like, I mean, it's gotta be like the holy. If they worship Twister, I mean, the Wizard of Oz is gonna be.
All right, Lee, do you want to hear my Wizard of Oz joke? Because I'm going to tell it to you anyway.
Do you have a Wizard of Oz joke?
I have a Wizard of Oz joke. This is my original Wizard of Oz joke.
All right. So if I say I don't want to hear it, you're going to tell it to me anyway?
They basically talk about, exactly, they talk about the utopia that is Oz.
Oz, yes.
And then you go there.
And at the end, it's just a banker pulling strings.
And it couldn't help me but think, Lee, exactly what is the organ donation system in Oz?
The organ donation system?
Well, I mean, you got the Tin Man that needs a heart.
Okay.
You got the lion that needs some courage. You got the scarecrow that needs a brain. And yet at the beginning of the movie, the Wicked Witch of the West dies. Do they harvest her body for organs? No. But they sure as hell steal the ruby red slippers, don't they? See, there you go. There's the
there it is. There's the bottom line.
It's actually not bad.
They missed the point.
Is it attached to your license?
They went for the money. They went for the money.
I know. They went right for the ruby red slippers.
Could have had the brain. Could have had the heart. What about courage?
I don't know, Lee. I don't know where you're going to find that exactly.
Yeah.
So maybe there was a movie there. Lee, you talked about this. It was something you wanted to touch on. An update from the NRPS about that fatal shooting on Clifton Hill, and an arrest was made.
Yeah. Remember that story? Actually, I thought I was looking at something new when I was reading this, and then I realized it was an update and one of a positive nature. As a result of the ongoing investigation, detectives with the homicide unit identified an individual who had involvement in this incident. You remember there was a shooting on
Here we can go down because they always follow it up.
Yeah,
with,
it was back in sort of a celebratory Friday, April 8th. There was something going on that weekend. It was a busy weekend. I don't know why. Anyway, April 8th, Friday, at approximately 12:30 in the morning, Clifton Hill, near the Great Canadian Midway, near the top of the T there, near Ferry Street in the city of Niagara Falls. 2 males were taken to hospital for treatment of their injuries, remain in hospital in stable condition. This was then. At this time, the vehicle of interest has not been located. Well, they did find the guy, or a guy, that they have.
Yeah, so they made an arrest. And
they have arrested in connection.
If you see here, my apologies, this is update 3. Update 2 that we just read was talking about the fact that the 2 males were in stable condition. The original story includes the fact that one was pronounced deceased on the scene.
Yeah.
17, and arrested, yeah.
And the perpetrator, a 17-year-old male youth. 17, Kevin. Charged with attempted murder, aggravated assault, robbery, discharge of a firearm with intent, reckless discharge of a firearm, possession of a firearm in a motor vehicle, possession of property obtained by crime. The male is currently being held in custody pending a bail hearing on Tuesday, July the 19th, which is, of course, a couple of days ago at the courthouse downtown here in St. Catharines. 17 years old. There goes that life. That's one down the toilet.
Although, I mean...
How do you like me now?
A lot of the conversation in the comments, Lee, surrounds the Young Offenders Act and whether or not there is actually going to be any justice served for the man that died. Or actually, I don't even know the age of the man that died. Maybe he was a young youth himself.
Can we go the way of the U.S.? And I'm not sure. Sometimes the lines between the United States and the Canadian justice system are blurred because we're so exposed to the U.S. style. Can we try a 17-year-old person as an adult in Canada? I don't I don't see why we wouldn't have that possibility available. But this is a bad kid. This is a bad man, and he's not going to be anything else but a bad man. And look what he does. Really? He's got stolen stuff in his car. He's got a gun. He's got a gun in his car. He's got this in his car. He goes out in public and he shoots 2 people. One of them dies. And
you see,
are we going to turn this psyche around? Like, are we going to turn this guy around? I don't think so. I'm sorry. I don't think so.
As you see here, Lee, I mean, the comments from the Niagara 411ers out there, I mean, really run the full gamut of everything that we're talking about.
Yeah, again, a kid with a gun with no respect for a human life. What, W2F, what's wrong with him? We don't know what's wrong with them. Nature and nurture, I guess. Young Offenders Act strikes again. Kids know the rules. The act should not be applicable when it gets to felonies. I agree, totally. Now please do the right thing and put this guy away. I don't care how old he is. He's old enough to know better. Well, he's old enough to know not to go into a public place with a gun that he shouldn't be using in the first place and kill 1 out of 2 people that he shot. No, it doesn't take much to know that this is not something you should be doing. An unnamed youth will be deemed that he's treatable, and our legal system will have him back on the street in no time. David Booth, I hope you're wrong. I can see why you say it, but I hope you're wrong. This is what happens when bad guys get guns. Now, if he was a good guy with a gun, everything would be okay. I think that was kind of a tongue-in-cheek statement, because a lot of good guys don't have guns. Or at least they don't have guns in public at Playland on Clifton Hill. Wait, you have to be older than that to obtain a firearm license in Canada, another illegal one. Big surprise. Well, yeah, there you run into, only illegal guys get legal guns, only legal, guns don't kill people, people kill people. That whole thing.
And
boy, I've always loved that one.
Let me transition here. I'll let you read this post from Justin Preston, who's our next guest.
There we go. Justin's coming on. Visit Niagara 411 at 1 p.m. today, as I'll be sharing about Rise Against Bullying Showcase, vendors, and live entertainment. Live interview with our friend Justin Preston coming up now. Is he with us? Justin.
Hello.
Justin, my friend, how are you, pal? How's it going?
It's very well. Long time no see, because last time I was on Niagara 411, if you remember, I was in a basement at a bingo hall.
You were?
Talking about letters by Justin. Well, I had to go up and call the rest of the session. So I'm so excited to be back today. It's a huge honor, and thank you, Niagara 411, especially this live stream that's weekly, that just broadcasts so many positive and stories throughout our community.
Well, thank you for that, and it's awesome to have you. You're also one of the positive influences. Yeah, I remember that scene that looked like you were surrounded by dripping water pipes, and somewhere in the underground inner sanctum of New York City somewhere. It was
Right, exactly, and that was the total backdrop. So this time I have my actual setup, which is great. But yeah, it's a different scene today.
Yeah, it's great. So Justin, what's going on? Bring us up to date.
So on August 6th in Niagara Falls at Taps Brew House, I have decided to do a free show for the community with live entertainment, drag queens, drag kings, speakers, and comedians as well. I came up with this idea because when I was in high school, obviously with doing Rise Against Bullying, I was bullied so much in school that I never had that confidence to go on the stage and do the talent shows and kind of show the school what I had to offer.
Right.
So now with that, I've been collecting and collaborating with so many amazing people within the Niagara region. And my goal is to shine light on our local artists, our local vendors, our local drag queens and entertainers and performers, and giving them a platform to be able to go on stage and do something they thought they never could. So on August 6th at Taps Brew House, we're hosting a free event for the community. It's going to be from 12 to 6 o'clock. We have Barney coming all the way from Hamilton, and we have Fluffy the Clown as well. I'm really excited, and it's just trying to make it an all-ages, kid-friendly free event.
That's awesome.
And with the pandemic too, I understand that a lot of small businesses have really struggled. So I've been really trying to shine some light on small businesses And of course, Taps Brew House, which has opened us with open arms, especially with being a little bit of different and adding everything all into one.
Right.
They were so cool with lending us the stage to be able to do what we all do, and I'm just honestly so excited for this event. So to have an opportunity to speak today, to share with others what's going on, it's a huge highlight because
That's
more
great.
people
No,
know.
because I mean, Taps Brew Pub, it's a pretty traditional brew pub entertainment place. I know a couple of folks that entertain there with more traditional style shows, etc. And so this is something you put together that is, and you said totally free of charge. You can just drop by between noon and 6.
Right, and it will be outdoors too, so it's open to the public to be able to kind of look around with the vendors, whether they want to support a small business. There's so many amazing things with boutiques to Nell's Knits to Yarn to Love Wax, Crazy Plant Ladies, a glitter ink table, Stay Strong Collective, which is a nonprofit out in St. Catharines, which creates a wellness space for the 2S LGBTQIA plus community.
Wow.
In the Mineral Garden. So
Okay,
mixing a whole
hang
bunch
on. Justin, back up here and help me. I think we know each other well enough by now that you can run through those letters for me again. I got up as far as LGBTQ plus, but you threw
Right.
some other letters in there.
Right. Yeah. So I always say 2S for too spiritual.
Oh, right.
For the indigenous community.
Okay.
And
All
then LGBT.
Wait a bit of a freeze. You'll come back. Darn, just when we were going to get to the...
But I always try to make sure that I'm being inclusive with everyone too. So with the 2S LGBT QQIA, it all stands for intersex, queer and questioning, and asexual. So just having that plus sign, so in a short form, it would be 2S LGBTQ. But I understand when you hear me, you're like, whoa, wait a minute, what is going on? Right?
I'm here to help educate as well as promote. So that was the question I wanted to ask. And before we continue with the event, in all seriousness, can you, when you were younger, not that you're very old now, but through your bad times of bullying and those kinds of things that those traumatic things that you've been through, can you imagine having this kind of commercial, a conversation, I should say, online with anybody in those times? Like, think about how far this society has come.
Absolutely not, because I keep saying we're in 2022 and obviously we're having more of a conversation. Even talking about mental health, we hear more of the conversation with people embracing their stories, knowing it's okay not to feel okay, but also even just talking about the 2S LGBTQ plus community, to be able to even say that on a platform like Niagara 411, knowing you guys are loving and accepting and with open arms. I honestly never thought I would see the day that I would even be able to have an opportunity to speak about an event just like this, or my story from the past. It's amazing. It shows that our world is slowly evolving, and with education.
Yeah, I mean, we have a long way to go. These are just baby steps. But the fact that you and I, who obviously, to look at us, come from two very different life paths,
we so do,
can have this conversation,
right.
and I just think it's wonderful. So, and I just wanted to get there. So we've got Taps Brew House, August the 6th, noon to 6. It's an outdoor event. You said it was all ages, family friendly, correct?
Right. Yes.
Okay. Anything else we need to know?
Just if there's any other, I am looking for a few other small vendors, so just reach out to me. I would love to showcase and shine some light on any other small businesses that want to be involved on August 6th for sure.
What is the requirement of somebody that wants to be a vendor? What do they need to do?
So it's just a $50 vendor fee, and then there's just a small waiver, just making sure that they're protected and that the facility's protected and that there's no debris and or any tripping hazards, and we'll be all set for August 6th.
Okay, so that's a week from this Saturday.
Correct. Yes.
Okay. Justin, always a pleasure. Love you. Have a great event. And thanks for joining us again.
You as well. Thank you for making a difference. I appreciate you so much.
Okay,
Thank you
man.
for having
Take
me.
care.
Bye.
Such a positive, uplifting young man. He makes me happy just talking to him.
Yeah, and you know what, Lee? I feel the same way about Justin. I love the people that are standing up and putting a camera right on themselves and saying, "Yep, here I am. I'm a contributor to the community. You
Take
come
me as
down
you
to
see me."
you come down to the bingo, and I'm going to be the guy there because we're just living our lives, man. And we're doing some great things. That's going to be a fun time at Taps. Just wanted to say it would be 2 weeks from Saturday. I know the summer's moving along, but August 6th is going to be 2 weeks from this coming Saturday.
Right.
Yeah, I think
2
I
weeks.
think everybody was just agreeable. Right? Yeah, week Saturday. Yeah,
Oh, yeah, it's
but
week
don't want
Saturday,
anybody
yeah.
to think
Yeah.
that the summer's
Well,
going
I'm
away.
always right, so.
Yeah, well, the August long weekend is actually a week from now. So we just got a regular weekend coming
Okay.
up, and then the
right.
August long weekend is on.
Yeah, because
Monday.
I'm going to be traveling. Let's talk about that for a second. So this is the 21st of July, right? So I'm going to be away next week, and we're going to have St. Catherine's broadcaster, maybe.
Maybe.
Okay, we're not sure
We're
yet.
still working out the details.
We're not sure yet.
There's a possibility we might be on hiatus next week.
Oh.
So we just can't live without you.
You
Lee.
just can't find somebody that wants to be me.
We can't find anybody to fill those shoes, Lee. Very, very, very
To
big
populate
shoes.
these sandals.
Very big shoes.
Okay.
So yeah, we'll keep you posted as to
All
what
right.
we're doing, but we might be off the air for a couple of weeks here in the summer. But you know what? You deserve time with your family. I deserve
As
time
you.
with my family.
You
as
were
well,
over at
so.
Bissell's this past
Oh,
weekend.
fantastic time! Yeah, total glamping.
Yeah.
So we glamped at Bissell's, and Lee, you were looking at the third place finisher of the Thursday night Name That Tune competition at Bissell's Hideaway Resort.
Wow,
Thank
how
you.
many people were competing, too?
There were 8 teams. There were 8. So we
Okay.
finished third out of 8.
All right.
But
you
I
were in
gotta
the top. You were in the top 40 percentile.
Yeah, that's about it. Third of 8.
So you made it sound so glamorous.
I know.
I know.
And Alex,
I'm sorry I dialed it down a bit for
our
you.
son Alex hit another hole-in-one on their mini putt course.
Get out.
Yeah, and we just had an absolute blast down at Bissell's. But trust me, I understand anybody that does a lot of camping, we do not consider that real, camping. Don't get on me for that. We understand that the roads are paved, and that the pool is lined with
And you're
artificial grass.
And you're in a vehicle.
Yeah, and there's a restaurant there to order
Yeah.
food from if you
Hey,
want.
man, I'm a glamper. I don't.
No.
I have done camping. Not ever again. My worst camping experience was the Motor Speedway in Eastern Ontario. We went to watch an F2 or something like that race at Motorsport.
What, Mosport?
Mosport.
Yeah, okay.
Ugh. It was raining. Imagine last night in the mud. That's what it was like.
Oh, gosh.
Ugh.
Yeah, we had one of those camping trips last summer. We were up
Coming
in,
up in the program at 1:30 to play us off the stage is Giancarlo and the Scar Phones. All right, pretty cool band from Niagara Falls, I think. Giancarlo and the Scar Phones will be here too, as we say, play us off the stage. Now, before we go any further, I do want to, by all means, again thank our sponsors, Gales Gas Bars, for fueling this program as they have done to Niagara for the last over 50 years. I want to thank also Performance Heating and Air. Carlo and your gang, you're the best. Performance Heating and Air try to make sure that they save your family as much money as they can, because they have families that live here too. And over the last number of, decades, Verge Insurance Group, again, can't say enough about your support here on the program. WeeStream, Kevin, Jack, Brandon Scram, partners in Canada's premier streaming company. And Kevin, how's WeeStream doing? Got an update for us for the summer?
Yeah, one thing we're going to be doing, as we've done for a few years, and I mean, here we are talking a small little company in St. Catharines. Once again, we're back with sporting competitions, and in early August, we'll be on the sandy beaches of Ashbridges Bay in Toronto, to be live streaming the provincial beach volleyball championships for Ontario Volleyball Association. Cool. So we always love that date. So here you are, small little company in St. Catharines, and we are putting together the broadcast for Ontario Volleyball and the provincial championship, and we've done national championships in the past as well. So, I think that our little company deserves a pat on the back. But if you're looking for interesting things, and then, we kind of slow down in the summer, Lee, because we like to spend a little more time with our family and go camping. So Brandon right now, the other half of WeeStream, he's way up north. The August long weekend, I'll be out in Prince Edward County, and we're going to all different reaches as both of us love camping with our families.
Nice. I myself am headed to California on the 26th. I'm not going to stay days now because I obviously screw up days. Next Tuesday, I think that is. The 26th, a beloved family member of mine passed away a couple of years ago, and we are now finally able to get together to have a celebration of life for her. So we're going to be doing that in Ventura County and on the coast of California, one of my favorite places. So it's going to be nice. We fly into LA and then drive up the coast. We are going to do our very best to not have to check bags. Travel in this country, especially international travel, Kevin, is absolutely horrendous still. Pearson Airport is a nightmare.
I told you my strategy, Lee, burn and return. Hit up your Walmart. They probably got a 7 to 14 day return policy, so buy everything when you land, and then the day before you leave, sorry, didn't like any of it.
Yeah. And I'm hoping it cools down because we're going to England at the end of August. So, not to, blow the horn, but it's just people have, not just us, people have plans that sometimes the world gets in the way. And by all means, if you have plans yourselves that are watching the show, I hope they all go off smoothly and you're able to enjoy yourselves. This has been Season 3, Episode 28 of Niagara 411 Live with Lee Sterry. By the way, you can check out that name or Lee Winfield on Audible if you like audiobooks. I got about 30 titles up there you might want to listen to. So, Kevin, again, thank you. It's been a pleasure. Thank you to Fiddler's Poorhouse for being our hosts. And I guess we say see you next time. Cheers. Giancarlo on the start phone.
Office job, I'm working 9 to 5. Just wanna take the boat and sail to the riverside. I need to make it before the sun sets again. It's like the hands have stopped. No one said that it would be such a crawl to the top. I was fooled, it was cruel. I can cool it if I try. As kids we didn't have it hard, running and playing, hopping fences in the farmer's yard. Up on that hill we were emperors of Rome. And now the years have passed, and you said I'll always love you no matter your class. Was it true what I do to deserve you in my life? Take the money, and run. Take the money, be funny. Take the money and run. Take the money. There's time to get away, I guarantee. Sitting on beaches with detective books we'll never read. But traffic's heavy and there's another levy to change. Can be so petty now. I've never fold my cards, and you say it's on account of my natured heart. Every day it's the same, wouldn't blame you if you tried. Take the money and run. Take the money, don't be funny. Take the money and run. Take the money. don't be funny. Take the money and run. Take the money. Take the money and run. Take the money and run. Take the money and run. Look at honey. Take the money. Don't be funny now, baby. Take the money and run. Take the money. Take the money and run. Take the money.
Did you get all that? Did you hear me? Hello?